Hello, hello, and happy Wednesday. It is a glorious day outside. I am not going to kid you. I think we're doing all a little summer adventuring, and the weather is just fabulous, folks. The world is amazing. But on that note, if this is your first time joining us, hello, my name is Sadie Uribe, and I'm the media producer of the Los Angeles Regional SBDC. The SBDC is a national program with over 1,000 locations across the country, helping to stimulate economic growth through business advising and development. The LASBDC offers no-cost services through funding provided by the U.S. Small Business Administration, SBA, and from the California Office of the Small Business Advocate. It's your tax dollars at work. The Los Angeles Regional SBDC network operates 7 service locations throughout Los Angeles, Santa Barbara, and Ventura counties. Our services are also offered virtually. We are here to help. We empower small business owners by offering tailored solutions through personalized one-on-one business advising, cutting-edge workshops, and comprehensive programs, all provided at no cost. We are dedicating to supporting your entrepreneurial journey every step of the way. Lori, did you feel the enthusiasm today? I'm excited. I'm
Oh
pumped.
my God. I did. I was like, you couldn't ask for a better intro, Sadie. Nailed it as always. Hello, everybody. And it is summer. It's August. Don't they call this the dog days of summer? Did I just make that up? I think that's actually a statement.
No, it is a statement because I'm technically not in LA, folks. I'm not going to kid. I had to head out of town, but it is like a 97 when I was talking to my friend yesterday. And those be the dog days of summer because you just want to sleep.
That's what I thought. Okay, no further ado, because we got a good one today. I always say that, and it's always true, but we got a good one. So here we go, guys. So let's get started. So, first of all, a discussion about what's coming up. Next week, we have Adam coming back on, and he is fondly known as the Pitchinator. He helps people get their pitch together to go for funding. I love to have Adam come on, not only because he's fun, really fun, but he tells us about what's going on, what's he seeing in small companies. He's got a fascinating investor background. You guys love him. I brought him back on. The week after is David Ronaldo. Now, he's been on a couple times, but it's been so long ago. It might be a first time for many of you ever seeing him. He started the college Zoom in college, actually, when he was in college. And I was actually his professor. So it's a funny long-term story, but it's been many, many years now. And he's a seasoned entrepreneur. And I've asked him to come on and talk about kind of the ups and downs and the constantly having to control and manage things and how things change overnight. So it's a great opportunity to kind of see down the road how things don't quite settle in. You always have to be on your guard, I guess, to say it. And then Kevin Baker, another new guest on the show, All in One Solar, another fascinating story. So that's what's coming up. Okay, guys, it's time for, we were just talking before the show, my rant. It's called Lori's Corner, but it's my rant. Today, we're going to talk about today's business models, profit limitations. Oh, and I just thought of one more thing, guys, before I go on. Last week, Ashley Arnold, I brought that show back. It's a great show. And I reached out to her. She's coming back on in September to give you an update. I wanted to mention that before I forget. So you guys that watched it last week and heard what was going on with her, you're going to get an update on that. Okay, now let's go for the rant today. This has got a lot of meaning behind it, guys. So it's one of those where you kind of have to listen closely and hear what I'm talking about. Okay, so it's time for Lori's Corner. I want to introduce a concept that I've been noticing more and more, and I may spend a couple weeks exploring it with you. It's one of those quiet shifts in how companies are being built today. I've mentioned it before, so it's not brand new, but I'm delving into it a little bit more. Many of the new businesses, and this is our audience, okay? This is our audience that I see starting right now are almost completely outsourced. The owner comes up with the idea or the product, then hires someone else to manufacture it, package it, label it, warehouse it, ship it, and sometimes even handle the distribution. What's left for the owner is mostly the sales process, keeping the records, owning the company. So follow me back in time. If you went back and talked to a successful business owner from the 1960s, I know many of you like 1960s, I wasn't born yet. Okay, I was. I'm old. But if you talk to that successful business owner from the 1960s through even the 1990s, and you told them this, you said, I'm going to start a company, but someone else is going to make the product, package it, ship it, distribute it, they would probably look at you and ask, then what exactly are you doing? And how do you expect to make money? Any real money? This is where I'm going with this. That's the part I want us to sit with for just a moment. In a fully outsourced model, you are often taking the last little sliver, the last slice of the profit, the thin remaining margin after everyone else has already been paid. So many of these same owners tell me, I really don't have any overhead. And from a traditional accounting perspective, that's true. Okay. The accounting, financial accounting, that would be true. But operationally, their overhead can be enormous, sometimes the majority of every dollar that comes in. Now, to be clear, I'm not saying this model's wrong. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying it has real profitability limitations that a lot of people don't see until they're already deep into it. They set a selling price that feels good, but it doesn't actually cover the full cost of all these outsourced pieces and still leave healthy money for the owner. By contrast, and you've heard me talk about this before, many solo service businesses that keep everything internal end up more profitable for exactly this reason. They control the whole process and capture more of the value that they create. So this week, I'm just planning the idea. Okay. Next week, we're going to dig deeper into the numbers and how to evaluate whether an outsourced model can actually work for you. So here's the bottom line. Before you assume the money will be there, take a clear look at who is actually doing the work and who is getting paid for it. That last slice of the pie is often thinner than it looks. Okay? You got this. Start thinking about it. Okay? All right, let's jump into today's show. Totally exciting to have Katie Shoien, she established the Activist Kitchen in 2020. She believed in the transformative power of art and its ability to ignite conversations, challenge perspectives, and inspire change. The Activist Kitchen is a warm-hearted, inclusive, community art space located in East Hollywood. The company is dedicated to showcasing thought-provoking works that merge creativity with activism. Katie, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Well, guys, I was saying before the show started, just seeing Katie smile and her energy, it's already inviting. It already says this is going to be an awesome show. Totally, Katie. Now, it's interesting because as I was saying, when I looked at your bio and I started looking into the company, which Katie was introduced to us by Greg, thank you so much, I realized that there's a whole lot going on to this company, a whole lot. So I want to get to your background, but I feel to set the stage, no pun intended, let's first just get a couple paragraphs on what exactly is it. I read the intro, but let's get a little bit more detailed so people can kind of see where you are now, what this company does. Then we're going to go back and retrace and find out how you got there. So tell us about the Activist Kitchen. What is it exactly?
So the Activist Kitchen we're located in East Hollywood, right on the corner of Melrose and Heliotrope. And me and some of the neighbors are developing the East Hollywood Theater District over here. So there's a couple other really cool little theaters, but we're a little bit different than your traditional theater. So we have a lot of different moving parts that are happening here. We really encourage artist development from people that have never been on stage before to seasoned professionals that come in and work new material. So we have 5 days of open mics where that is really just here for the community. Anybody can get up and do anything they want, whether it's sing, do some stand-up comedy, be a clown, read a poem, anything creative. Talk about your day if you want to. It's very much about getting comfortable being on stage and behind the camera and in front of the camera and all of the different aspects that go into becoming a developing artist and how to create that as your business in the future as well. So we encourage all types of experimental theater. We just wrapped the Hollywood Fringe Festival, which was an amazing month in June. We had over 90 performances of different new plays that are mostly self-produced by the artist. And then we have a whole nother side that is like a production side where we have a green screen and we can do 3D backgrounds and put you in whatever world you want to be in. So if you want to create your reel and you want to be in the jungle, we can put you in the jungle.
Wow, I just absolutely love this concept. And I love the trend that started probably over a decade, if not even before then. It just, to me, it's at least a decade, where the individual gets to experience the creativity without being hindered by they don't have a big studio or a record label or anything. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I watch that with first, iTunes and stuff, and I know it's done some harm. I get that. I'm not saying there's not two sides to this, but I think it's allowed so many people to have an experience of exploring creativity. And I believe creativity creates happiness, it creates peace. I think that as humans, we personally have moved away from creativity to a degree that it's maybe hindering some of our happiness, if I can say it that way.
I actually completely agree with you. And I think that's why spaces like this are so important, where you can actually go in and physically see people and talk to people and kind of rebuild those like actual human connections with the art and create that conversation about how do we continue to build art together and to create new ideas. Because when you look back through history, some of the things that have stuck around for so long are the art pieces.
Yeah.
And so it's like, what are we doing now that is going to affect the future? And how do we do this together so that we can all create a better world together?
It's so true. I mean, when you look back in any history, just the word storytelling goes back forever and ever and ever. And when you use the word storytelling historically, it usually brings up thoughts of community and involvement. And, it ties in together. And what I'm thinking too is for the audience, it's probably such a great experience because as children, we like to look up. And then as a child, we want to say, hey, that could be me too. And it seems like that kind of environment allows the audience to be childlike. And if they see somebody up there performing that's their first time, it resonates where they say, I can do that too. It seems very encouraging for the audience as well.
That's actually funny you say that because there's so many people that come in and they're like their first day, I'll be like, well, if you want to get up on the mic, let me know. And they're like, oh, no, no,
Oh,
no,
no.
I don't think so. But then by the end of the day, they're like, well, maybe. And it's almost every single one I have been able to get on stage.
I love it. I love it. Okay, I just got so engaged in what you're doing. I could go on and on, but let's go back. Okay. I get this sense that you had to have some kind of creative upbringing or family roots or something. I don't get the feeling that you say, well, I went to school to be a CPA. I just don't get that, but I could be wrong. But let's go, because I have been wrong many times when I've done that. So let's go back. Where does this come from? What did you think you were going to be doing with your life when we're in high school and we think we have to plan out in our entire life?
Well, definitely not this. I'll tell you that. But it makes complete sense, actually. My mom was such a great supporter of children and the arts, and she used to throw these phenomenal dress up birthday parties for me when I was a kid. And so my whole childhood was really like creating stuff and making art. And she always really encouraged me to be who I was, which allowed me to do that for other people in the future. And she passed away in 2021, which was like the biggest heartbreak of my life. But all of this is in her honor. And it's like really amazing because like as a kid, I really was expecting to probably be a veterinarian. Um, and then I didn't even really know you could go to school for acting. Like I went to Cal State Long Beach doing English literature and sociology and then I was in a car accident in high school. And after my surgery in college on my spine, I took an acting for non-majors class. And they actually like pulled me in the department and they were like, oh, this is what you're supposed to be doing. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's like Shakespeare, which I love, but it's like what it's like at its fullest. And it really just opened up the whole performance world to me. I just fell in love with the theater again. And I went through kind of a track where I was, working as an actor and doing lots of different things, but I wasn't necessarily doing stuff that I loved. And I was taking roles that, were great, but not necessarily something that I would create. And so I ended up getting into yoga really deeply. And I started traveling the world teaching yoga. And I was actually opening a yoga studio here in East Hollywood. And my grand opening was set for a week after COVID hit.
Oh, wow.
And so I was actually on a yoga retreat in Hawaii when that all happened. And so I like scrambled back and I was like, "Oh my gosh, like gravity yoga is not going to open."
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, "But I have this amazing location. What am I going to do?" And I was watching everything that was happening in the world and I was like, "You know what? I'm going to open a theater." And I was really attempting to have it be more of a restaurant connected to it in the beginning as well. But because of COVID, everything was closed. So getting permitting and everything was like nearly impossible. So I was like, okay, I'll build a green screen. And so I spent lots of 2020 in the space building a giant cyclorama green screen so we could do filming and feel like we were anywhere and figure out how to navigate that early COVID time. And then, the strike came, the writer's strike. And so we started doing a lot less performance on camera and scripted stuff and leaning more into live theater. And actually, one of the performers who was in our Fringe Festival has Elisha Tan. She has an amazing show called The Alpha Asian's Guide to the American Dream. And she comes from the tech world, and she talked a lot in her show about pivot and how in the tech world, like you have to be able to pivot. And it really resonated with me because I was like, oh, you know what? That's the reason that the Activist Kitchen exists, is because being creative, we were going to figure out a way. And I say we because there's such an amazing community of people that come here and help and are part of the team. And I have amazing partners that have appeared through the universe throughout this process. And that's one thing, is when you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, I feel like the people appear that are supposed to appear in your life. And so
Yeah.
I've been so lucky to be able to keep the doors open through all of the stuff. And now we're open 7 days a week, adding more hours all the time. And now we're adding in a whole like daytime set of different classes and more like jazz musicians coming in, and just starting to open it up to more poets and things like that, to really start to expand as much as possible out into the community to help, get more artists out there doing their thing, finding out what they love. And that is one thing that we try to really, really encourage, is find the thing that you love and what you
Yeah.
want to do. Like if
And
you
keep
want to
doing
come
it.
help us, like come help, but tell us what you want to do so that we can make that help happen.
There is so much to unpack on this, and it's interesting that you mentioned the word pivot. And I'm thinking, because I want to make sure that I ask the question in a way that you even have any idea what I'm speaking about. As you were talking, Katie, the one thing that was standing out to me the most, fascinating story, but the thing that kept coming in my mind was mindset. And the reason I was saying that, yes, it's a pivot, but I'm always fascinated in human characteristics and behavior. I think I have been that way as I came out of the womb. I looked around and went, these creatures are like kind of crazy. Look how they behave, right? And so from that moment, I think I've always seen myself as an observer. Look what this human did now. Look what this human did now. Yeah, I've always been that way, right? Kind of a weird spot to be in. But there are those that live a fine line, and I probably would include myself in this, between what I would call being grounded in reality and having plans and carry them forth and being completely in the world of monopoly. And then also a fine line in not getting bogged down by when life doesn't present you what you planned and just opening up and saying, well, it's now a yoga. Nope, it's not a yoga. Now it's this. Oh, nope, now it's not that. It's this. And having the energy and enthusiasm to continue. And I believe that comes from we're calling it mindset right now, but it's a series of connections and beliefs. And, like you said, when you believe that the universe is going to hand you the right people at the right time. And I don't think that in entrepreneurship is discussed enough. It's made so about money and business plans when at the end of the day, it also has to do with knowing how to play your cards. Okay, did I ask enough to say, where did that mentality come from, Katie? Do you understand even what I'm talking about? And is it something that you can communicate to the audience that they may get a nugget of it to understand?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you have to keep going. And that is kind of the thing. It's like one foot ahead of the other and baby steps
Yeah,
and not being afraid to say, okay, wait, I need to take a pause. And this was something I learned like from my grandfather and my father, who both like were involved in nonprofits and the parks department and really helping the community. My grandfather ran a nonprofit that helped the elderly and the disabled, and that was actually my first job when I was 13. Was going I grew up in Sacramento, so we would go to the Capitol, and he was lobbying for the elderly and the disabled. And I know that that's where I get a lot of my roots in wanting to help the community.
yeah,
Was my every one of my family has always been doing things to help the community join together and encourage people to do what they love and be happy and do art. And I've been very lucky to have that foundation. But also, the yoga helps me because for me, I've noticed I just finally got back into yoga again recently. I got so caught up with doing all of the small business stuff that I kind of like wasn't paying attention to myself. And so that's when I really had to take a step back and say, no, I need yoga to be able to function. And especially because of my car accidents that I've been through and all of the different things that can cause stress in your life. I teach and I practice Bikram, which is the 26 and 2 style hot yoga. And you look yourself in the mirror for 90 minutes in the heat. And I really encourage people to look at themselves in the mirror because a lot of people don't take the time to actually look at themselves and look at their body and connect and being like, what's going on? What's happening here? How can I fix this? How can I breathe? How can I ground? And then how can I calm down enough to say, okay, what is the next step forward? And how do I make sure that I'm strong enough to take care of myself while being able to help assist and encourage all of these other people at the same time? But you can't give up. You
right,
got to keep going. And one of the things I learned after my car accident when I went to yoga and I was like, I'm just going to get back in. I'm going to do my postures like I normally do. And I couldn't lift my left arm up. And so very slowly over like the course of a year, I just slowly micro movements pulled my arm up to where I can actually move to my full ability. But what I learned in that was if I was pushing too hard, I could actually hurt myself. And
right.
so making sure to like stay grounded and stay but consistent and asking people for help. Like the SB, the SBA, SBDC, Greg, my advisor, has been phenomenal. I highly encourage you to check out his show from 2 weeks ago. He's been a wonderful like asset to my business and to my life in general, and just I really wanted to open up a second location very quickly a couple years ago. And I was like, you know what? I need to take it a little bit slower. I really need to fully dial in this first space so that I'm ready to go to the next space. And that was
Yep.
something that I I feel like was really like really saved me on a lot of levels too, you know?
You know what's interesting? Every time I have a next question in mind, you always end with exactly where I want to be for the next question, even though my thought was at the beginning. So it was my thought that I wanted to go to was this discussion about a word you said, which was baby steps, right? You always see me like this because I'm writing down on my pad. You know, baby steps, I think, are so crucial and forgotten in developing businesses today. They like, I have conversations with people all the time. I'm going to start a business and then I'm planning on growing and then I'm going to hire people and I'm going to invest. I'm like, wait a minute, you don't even have the idea figured out. Come back here. And I say, it's good to look down the road, but businesses are built right here. And then you ended it with the concept that I wanted to already open a second location. And Greg said, no, wait a minute, get this one complete first. And I think that for some reason, and I'm not sure why, but entrepreneurs are getting fed with this develop the idea and the plan and start working on the plan. Where I people like say, I got an idea and I'm going to start a C corporation because I'm going to get investors someday. I'm like, whoa, 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 you know, bring it back home. In fact, I say to them all the time, if you had a child and they were graduating from high school and they said, you know, mom, dad, I want to have, you know, 2 or 3 kids someday. Would you go, good. Now, what you want to do is go out right now and buy a 3 bedroom house. No, you'd say that's crazy, but I feel like that's what company owners are doing on a daily basis. So I had written a whole lot that we're going to go from what you just said, but can you give some information about baby steps? Because I feel like you've got some important information to share about the putting your toe in the water and the incremental steps in growing, because you couldn't pivot like you did if your mind was way down the road. You wouldn't have saw it. So I'm handing it over to you.
Yeah, it's actually something that I talk about with we have a team of interns that come in and host our open mics. And
Okay.
so it's something that I talk about with the new interns as they come in, because a lot of times when we put up a new open mic or a new event, the first week maybe nobody will come. But after a couple months, they'll be completely maxed out. So it's all about saying, hey, people have to learn that this is even on the schedule. You have to like start to get it into the zeitgeist, get it into their mind, start to like really feel it out if it's going to work, because you'd rather work out the kinks now while there's less people versus like I've worked on some bigger productions, which made me very grateful to be in a space where we pretty much max it to like a 50-seat audience usually. Um, because when you have thousands of people walking around and you're like, oh my gosh, I've created this giant thing, that's when things can go wrong on that scale.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. The bigger you are, the bigger you can fall, or whatever that old saying is, right?
And so really dialing it in and making sure that like every step of the way, you're like for our open mics, for example, I want to make sure that the host knows what they're doing before it's like a crazy busy night, because the pressure, once you start to have all those people around you, you start to forget things. And this is like kind of translates through to like in anything, you know, if you're walking too quickly, you might trip, you know, like you want to watch where you're walking and make sure that you're stepping in the right way so that you don't end up like missing a step,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you don't want to have to go back and be like, oh my gosh, like you were mentioning earlier too, like with the businesses that develop like all of their products in house, you know, if you were to like skip that step, you might be leaving a lot of money on the table as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Or a
Exactly.
whole project, like for us, there's so many different things that come out of these, like one art project will lead to the next. And if you're not paying attention, you could like miss that
Yeah.
whole idea.
Exactly. Okay. Are you ready for a? I don't mean it to be a hard question, but it might be one of those that are just really hard to ask. So I will go for it, right? And you know, keep in mind, I'm always been more on the finance side of things, right? And so this is something I've always thought about. Do you have to be the starving artist? Why are so many people the starving artist? Can you
No.
talk about that in general?
No. First of all, you don't want to be the starving artist.
No, no, you
Okay.
don't.
No, go get a job. If you need to get a job, get a job. Honestly, I always joke with all of my friends, to be a working artist in LA, you need 5 jobs. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
you need
yeah,
to have like your things that make money, your things that you have passion for, whether they're paid or not, but you need to have multiple things going on, because when you walk into an audition, If you're like, I'm an actor, they're going to be like, what else do you do? Like, so is everybody else. And when you start doing a lot more TV stuff, you'll start to notice they don't want to hear you say that you're an actor. Like, if you're going to go and be on some show, they want to hear what else you do. Like, what makes you unique? What are you passionate about? Because otherwise, yeah, everybody's just like an actor. Cool.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
you know, but you really have to build that foundation. And this is something that I learned myself as an artist, and part of the reason why and it took me a long time to even say that I was an artist. And so that's something that I work with a lot of my people and their team about too, is saying, make sure that you can own up to it. Like, be confident in saying that you're an artist. Like, know that that's what you want to do, because it's not going to be easy. So you
Right.
got to be your biggest promoter. You got to be out there and being like, hey, this is what I love. And you got to find the people that support you and understand what you're doing, because not everybody understands all the same art, and everybody can see things different. Like this, the paintings behind me, for example, my uncle, my mom's brother, did these paintings. And what's fun about his work is he says you can really spin it in any direction you want. He's like, hang it up however you want. You can really do with it what you please. And everybody sees different things. All of the performers that get up and start talking about it find different meaning and different pieces as part of their set, I guess, at that point.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that that's kind of the beauty of it, is it's like, find what is unique to you and run with it. And make sure it's fun. Like you said, you want to have fun, because man, life is short, you know?
It sure is. You know what I love that you said? And well, you were talking about needing five different jobs if you're an actor. And, there's so much even beyond that. And the fact that you said, do something you're passionate about and then do something you make money at, I think that is brilliant. And in my early 20s, my late 20s, perhaps, because I started my company, I was like 25, right? I held on to the business term multiple revenue streams, right? And
Mm.
for me, I was feeling insecure about what if this goes away and I can't pay my rent. And, so it was more fear based, I have to say, that initially created this concept. But the multiple revenue streams just gave me a feeling like, well, I'm making a little money doing this, and I make money doing this, and I make money doing this. And with no business training whatsoever, I remember like drawing a circle and go, well, if this activity also does this activity, so I, do a speech, and then I take this and make a book out of it, and then I take this and I can make money here. So I was trying to spread myself around this circle where everything interchanged in the same activity, but gave me money. But literally it came from a fear state. But two things came out of it. One, multiple revenue streams is a very good thing. It's lovely. But the other part is, it allowed me to explore different aspects of my personality. I like public speaking. I like working in a spreadsheet with numbers. And I think we're now at a day and age, because, I'm 62. So back then you were supposed to get a job for IBM and be in a cubicle and work your whole life. And I refused to. I always would say, why can't I just be a cubicle person? But it wasn't. But today, people are able to explore many different avenues, and they are able to get multiple revenue streams. And I think it brings a whole person together. So I think that there is this movement in the entrepreneurial noise they keep hearing is, okay, and then quit your job and jump fully in your company, or you're not committed. And I'm like, no, figure out how you can maybe do some things part-time, explore all, and have some financial backups too. I think it's such an important concept. I want to hand it back to you to talk about a little bit more on it.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's like, well, and one thing you don't want to do is do too many things where you're burnt out.
Right.
But having, like you said, having some things that are different but allow you to explore different parts of your personality, that's what it's about. Like, we're whole humans. You can't just be put into one box of one thing that you do. And so, like, for me, I'm also a real estate agent. I just got my license a couple months ago.
Congratulations.
And we're doing
Awesome.
our first deals. And actually, the broker,
I
I'm
love it.
actually getting him signed up into the SBA development program, so that can be another aspect where it all connects together.
Yeah.
Because, it's a lot of fun, honestly.
Yeah.
And what's great is now I can actually help artists that are wanting to buy houses and things like that, that are looking here. And we can really start building. It's about the whole life. You want to have a whole happy life in all the different aspects, and financial stableness is definitely like a factor to that,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. And I love what you're saying because you know what I always tell people that there is just by definition certain disciplines, careers, skills pay more than others. It just is the way it's set up in our world, right? So if you're wanting to do this thing that pays very little and make 200,000, chances are it's not going to happen. But that doesn't mean you can't do a slice. You can do a real estate deal and suddenly you made several years worth. But I love what you're laying out here is that I think sometimes, Katie, and I'm guessing on this, and you'll know this more in your world, but I think people almost feel like they're not committed or they're doing this disservice or they're not really fully exploring their possibility if they have any other things on the table. It's almost like it's a bad thing, like, oh, I'm not really committed. I don't believe in myself if I also hold this door open. I think that's nonsense. No, you're living and you're engaging if you hold all the doors open. And then, like you said, the universe shows you which door to enter. Don't you believe that?
100%. And actually, that's really interesting because I see it on both sides with our performers, where some of them are like, have really good gigs and things like that, but they don't tell anybody. And they come in and they're like, I just want to be like level playing field with everybody. And so I don't tell anyone either because, I'm not going to like tell their
Right,
story. But
right.
it's funny because I'm like, if you would talk about some of that stuff, it actually might help these younger performers understand that you can do both. And it doesn't have to just be, you know, I am giving up everything to be the starving artist and I'm, going to sleep in my car
Right,
until I
right.
figure it out. And like if you have people that can help you, ask them. Like, don't be afraid to ask for help. And that's something that it took me a long time to learn myself, honestly, because I'm the kind of person who's like, oh, I can just like, I can do it. I'll get through it. Even if I don't sleep,
Right. Yeah,
like,
yeah.
but no, that's not healthy. And I was starting to experience a lot of burnout from just being like, oh my gosh, I have to do it all myself. I was actually not being able to be the best version of myself because of that. And I ended up actually having like a health issue where I had an issue with my eyes from the stress. And I was like, well, if I go blind, I'm really in big trouble now. Like, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do then. And
Yeah,
that was when I was like, okay, I have to really take a step back and be like, I've had the Activist Kitchen open for 6 years. For the last 5 years, my partner's been here helping, and that's amazing. And I've got all these other people that are great supporters, but nobody has really been like in the dredge of like, it's like there's a lot of like the business side of it, of like, making sure your taxes are done and, all
yeah,
that kind of stuff that isn't necessarily like the creative fun of what I personally more enjoy doing. But I do enjoy the math side of it, thank goodness. And you've got to kind of learn to make it fun, I guess.
yeah,
Like the
yeah.
parts that you don't like, you have to learn how to make it fun. Like I was telling somebody the other day, I was like, I'm in here scrubbing the toilets, like, it's, you can't be afraid to do whatever needs to be done in that moment because first of all, somebody's going to do it. So
Right,
you
right.
can't be afraid to be that person. If you really want to do what you're doing, like be willing to play any part and really learn every aspect of like the camera. Like for example, for me, like I have to know how to do all the audio and the tech and how to run the cameras because if something goes wrong mid show, you have to know how to fix it. And a lot of these are live performance, just like our
Yep.
live show right now. Like we were talking a little bit about tech stuff earlier. It's like if the tech goes out, what do? You roll with it, you get it back
Well,
on.
yep.
People understand because everyone's a human, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, they really are. And it's something that, struck me as you were speaking. Everybody wants to go for happiness. They all want to go for happiness. I decided a long time ago, my thing was experience. What do I want to experience? That was kind of it. But I think sometimes like scrubbing the toilet and doing, the financials, which some people would compare it as the same. Uh, but, when
I think that's me too.
yeah, many would. I would think that with your background, I would think that. So, one of the things that I think that happens, Katie, is and I'm older, so I can speak of the younger ones, right? I think they've been programmed a little bit too much to believe that happiness is all inclusive all the time, and not realizing that you get the happiness here, but maybe you don't like this. But if you change your perception about it, it's maybe not that bad. And this is so long ago, I can't even remember, but I was walking through the kitchen, and I haven't had a TV in 20 years, so perhaps it was even more than that. And there was this, I'm going to tell a story so vague because I don't remember, but there was this young guy. He was in a different country. Somebody noticed he could play soccer or something like that. I don't remember what it was. And then he got sent over to the United States and got on some team. And then he wasn't able to go back to his old country. It was something along that line, right? And so the interviewer was talking with him, and he was like, "Oh my God, I'm an American. I'm playing. I'm all this." And of course, they try to get this other slant. And they go, "But you're never going to go back to your village." And I expect him to go, "Yeah." And he said something that I don't even know how long ago it stuck with me. And this is the words he said: "Happiness is not perfect."
Mm.
Katie, it was a change immediately for me. It was like, okay, I know, I was
I
looking
got
for
goosebumps right now,
perfection and
actually.
happiness. And it was like, happiness is not perfect. And sometimes when I'm having to do the things I don't want to do, I say to myself, happiness is not perfect. I think we got sold a bag of goods in this belief that happiness is perfect. And you just described scrubbing the toilets and loving what you do at the kitchen
Yeah.
activist as a happiness is not perfect model.
Yeah. It is real, and honestly, what I've been trying to do is learn how to make it fun. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
And,
yeah.
there was something I heard in a meditation like years ago that was along the lines of like, if you can like really like perfectly enjoy scrubbing the toilet, then like everything else will be easy and fun, right?
Yeah. I mean, isn't there an old, and I'm going to kill a guy, so please forgive me, but isn't there an old Buddhist statement like, what do you do after an enlightenment? You go back and do the dishes or something like that? Isn't there something along
Exactly.
that line? I know I probably killed it, but it's the concept. Okay, the
Yeah.
laundry, Christmas, the laundry.
Exactly, the
Okay,
laundry.
yeah. Yeah, I knew there was something along that. So let's go into the other aspect of making money. I have to believe when you were like, I'm going to create this and people are going to come and open mic, they were like, Katie, you can't make any money at that. So you had to figure out how to create a business model that actually gets money coming in. So in that, were you, and don't mean to get into the details, I'm not trying to do that, but how were you able to figure out, do the people who come in on the mic pay? Do the audience pay? Some of them pay? Many people are trying to figure out, especially with technology and apps, who's paying and who's getting the free subscription if you can. So I think
Yes.
it's some takeaway of nuggets, because I have to believe you had to explore that on some level. Does that make sense, kind of what I'm asking?
Oh, absolutely. So, and it has not been easy because we had to like kind of shift the model so many
Yeah.
times that it's actually kind of formed into this like new and different thing, which I was able to keep a lot of the aspects of the yoga studio that I really loved. The reason that I'm a yoga teacher is because one of the teachers years ago was like, "Hey, come be a karma yogi, come work at the studio, and then you can come and do yoga for free." And
Ah,
it was such an amazing concept to me. I was like, oh my gosh, like, of course, I want to be here either way. Like, and, I worked with that studio for many, many years. And they closed down in downtown, but they still have another location in Atwater. It's like a phenomenal studio. And it really like got me in the mindset of like, hey, how do we like, it made me want to be a part of the team and want to be there. It made me feel invested in everything that I was doing there because I was like, oh my gosh, I can come and do this thing I love and be part of the team. So I was like, how do I kind of merge that? And so that's when I came up with more of this internship model where we help people develop their stage time and their projects. And then they come and either do host or they check people in or they help me kind of tidy up around the space. And so those interns actually get comped mics because they are part of the team. But
I see.
everybody else, whether you're a performer or audience, they all pay an admission fee depending
Nice.
on what the show is or if it's an open mic. The open mics we usually keep very reasonable. It's right now it's like $5 to come in, and if you come in for one, you can stay for the next one. But
Oh,
they get
okay.
very busy, so you want to come early because by the 8 we do one at 5, 6:30, and 8:30 Monday through Thursday, and by 8:30 it's usually packed, so
Yeah.
I'm trying to like, but if you want to come and do a longer time, if you come to the 5 p.m., you might be able to get like 7, 8 minutes instead of 5. And so there's ways of developing that. But for us, that's more of a marketing community aspect. We actually do event rentals outside of those hours all the time.
Oh, that's beautiful. You know what I
Yes.
love? I want you to continue, but you know what I love about this? The expense for real estate is the highest expense in any business model that chooses to have any kind of brick and mortar. You are using that space to continuously make you money. That is brilliant. Please continue.
Yeah. So what's amazing about like the event rentals are like I sometimes never know who's coming in or what they're going to do or what they're going to create. And like the Hollywood Fringe Festival, for example, we had 16 productions that came in, independent producers. They each created their own show, they cast it. Some of them we help them develop the set because we are an immersive space. So my background specifically in the theater world comes from building immersive shows. So you walk into the world, you become part of the show immediately when you're in the space. So for me, every Halloween we do a really big, different immersive show and we turn the space into a whole different thing. But in June, we were able to host all of these other productions, and we're actually bringing them all back for an encore throughout the year, which is so much fun. But besides those ones that we know through the Fringe, we rent out the space for parties, for book signings, for record release, for sound baths, really anything creative that you want to do. We're here to help you transform the space. And it's all kind of like, I guess like Tetris kind of blocks or whatever, where you can like, I can move the couches, I can move the chairs if we need an open format, or if you want to flip it and perform in the center or whatever you want to do. We're very much like open for the artists to develop their ideas. And so that's where we get a lot of unique people that are coming in. And those event rentals are really like what keeps the place going.
Yeah.
But we
Yep.
also self produce. So we self produce shows, ticketed events, and depending on what it is, it a lot of times we do like an immersive package where we'll say, hey, this ticket price will include a t-shirt, things like that, where you can really like start to figure out what's working and then amplify that within your same space,
I just love this idea. I love this business model. What you've done is you've taken real estate, the space, and creativity and flexibility, and you combined all three. And I can see where someone like an artist is wanting to go perform someplace and they rent the space, but yours is different. You're actually helping them create the space to their vision and their dream. So you've got these services that are additional to the rental of the space, and then different ways to divvy up the space, and then products, your own production that comes out of it. I mean, Katie, it's like you got that circle alive with all the different things. And the general theme is the real estate, creativity, and flexibility. That's how I see it. You combined all three in the most beautiful financial manner I've ever seen. It's awesome.
Thank you. That's so kind. I really appreciate it. And that's kind of where I feel like on a certain level, like my mom that has passed away and all of my family and all of like the universe and all of the people I've known throughout my life have created it to all like culminate into this magical space and magical project. And my best friend is actually in Australia and she's in Melbourne and they do a big fringe festival. So one of the things we're working on this year is like, how do we do an artist exchange and start to
Uh,
really build more of the international conversation, and how do we really get out of just being only in this space now and more into the universe to be able to, connect with all the different entrepreneurs and all the different artists and keep the global community coming together.
As you say, community and connect with entrepreneurs for really most of my business existence, even back in my 20s before it was a concept, I would always say how if the small business and the community and the consumers all paired together, they could create the experience and profitability that only the large companies were delivering at the time, because everybody flocked to the large companies, felt like that's where the security was to work, and that was where the comfort to buy their products that were sealed and approved, etc. But what I noticed and I actually adore is this trend towards the smaller companies purchase from them, the individual partnering with one entrepreneur and another entrepreneur. And it's kind of going in reverse, whereas I say, and one of my favorite sayings, and my audience is familiar with it, I always say, take your power back. And to me, that's taking the power back. And I keep thinking as you're speaking that I know from growing up, the big thing was to go see the big production at the big production houses, right? And I grew up in the country, so I would go to the local small theater. That's all they had. And when I got to LA, because I'm not from there, when I moved to LA, I'm no longer there. But when I first moved to LA, I was 31. I was like, I am around big production. I finally get to go there. And I quickly learned what a pain in the butt, the traffic, the parking, I was like, I'm exhausted before I even got to my seat. And then I'm scared to death about when I get out of my seat, how long it's going to take me to get out of this place. And I just was like, I don't know if that big production made up for it. So I got to believe that you tapping into this small community is really a huge funnel that you're getting that is more inclusive than anybody would have ever believed. Does any of that I just said make sense?
Absolutely. It's honestly so magical every day for me. I joke that they keep me alive, because seeing the artists that come in and hearing their stories and watching, like, some of our performers and some of our hosts have developed so much over the last couple of years, and now they're going out and they're doing bigger things, and they still come back because they love it here and they love getting on stage here. But being able to see that growth happen is really cool, but still being able to keep it kind of more of a tight thing, because like
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're saying. Like, I love the Hollywood Bowl, but every time I get into that parking lot, I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, well, we're gonna wait an hour until somebody comes to move their car or whatever,
Yeah. Yeah.
And and that's the kind of stuff where you're like, you're in LA, you're gonna deal with that kind of stuff. But I would love, my goal in the end is to open up more activist kitchens in different locations so that we can tap into these different communities and different places and create that small, intimate experience where we had in the Fringe Festival, we had some amazing performers that normally are performing at like the Amundsen and things like that. And you are like this close to them. And
Yeah.
so getting that experience where you have bigger talent literally standing on stage next to someone whose first day getting on stage is
Yeah.
that day, you see some magic, because also the ones that
Yeah.
have been doing it forever, like they're like, this is my job, like I already do this. And then when they see someone who's just getting up and there's like a sparkle, they're kind of like, oh yeah, wait, I remember how that used to feel like when I first was getting up. And you see them coming back and being like, well, I want to try something new. Like one of our comedians, who's a touring comedian, he's a sub host for us because he's really busy all the time. He came back and he's like, I want to do this like really funny, like chef thing. And maybe we'll do it in the Fringe next year. And I was like, let's do it.
Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love. It's just like in bands, when you're going to bars and you got that unknown band that's just the stage band coming in, but you're dancing and the band's right there. It is such a different emotion than when you go to a big, popular band and you're sitting so far away and you can hear them, but you can't really see them and you're doing that. I just love that up close and personal type experience, and having that mixture of the big bands on that small stage has to be awesome and magical for all involved in that experience. That's so cool. That is so cool.
It's really different. I feel like people come and they tell me that, they're like, this space reminds us of like New York in the 80s, stuff like that,
Yeah.
like these little, a lot of people use the term like third space, where it's like, it's not your house, it's not your work, but it's a space where you can come and connect and really work on stuff. And that's the thing, is like, we obviously want people to come and hang out, but we encourage everyone to really work on some art while they're here. Like, you're meant to get going, like, get creative, get inspired. If something strikes you, come talk to me. Like, we could probably figure out how to do some form of what you're thinking, you know?
Yeah. Do you find that people are more open to their creative side and less siloed into I'm creative, I'm not creative? Like when I was, growing up, it was like, you're not creative, you're creative. And I see that as such a sad thing because nobody is creative or not creative. We're all creative.
Yes, 100%. And that's why I really love these, like the technology, like you were talking about, how you can kind of like do everything yourself now if you want to, but you can also kind of designate things. And with the technology now, I'm like, it's amazing how you can really, develop stuff. Like we make all our t-shirts in-house, stuff like that, where you're like, okay, I can advertise and I can market and I can be creative and I can get on Canva, which if you're an entrepreneur and you're not using Canva, download it now. I should be their spokesperson. I've been using Canva since the beginning, and it is getting better all the time. Flyers, all kinds of the AI on there is pretty interesting. Like I do, and I think AI is a really interesting tool. Obviously, like being in the industry I'm in,
Yeah.
it's you have to like step lightly because you can see what's happening with the actors and with the performers, and that's why the strike was so important, to
Yeah.
get some of these like rules and things in place that we need to be looking at as these technologies develop. But at the same time, if you can have like having it help with certain things that you maybe don't know how to do as an entrepreneur, like ask questions. And if you can find actual humans that do it, I always say talk to the actual human, like get signed up into all these programs. Like
Yeah.
I really truly, like I can't ask for enough help and advice, and the more that I learn, that's the reason we're still standing too, you know.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it's so funny because just saying AI has become either a good or bad thing. It's like you almost have to test the waters before you use those two initials now, which is such a shame because, I understand everything AI did, but the same thing as when we talked about outsourcing back how long ago, all these words were sensitive words. And I think we got to get out of the sensitivity and go, wow, this is a really cool tool. How do we want to use it? How do we not want to use it? And what boundaries do we want to have and parameters about it? That seems to be the simplest thing to me. And I think that is true of every single new thing we ever invented, all the way down to I can only imagine what it was like for the horses when the first car started going on the road.
100%. And it wasn't even that long ago,
No, it
really.
wasn't. It wasn't. And so, I always kind of look at it like, okay, well, let's look at this in perspective with everything else. I can remember when the Macintosh was going to destroy everything and it just became a tool. I mean, Katie, you get old enough and you hear this, it's going to destroy everything so many times. You're like, oh, yeah, it's going to destroy everything again. Oh, yawn, go bother. I
Yeah.
think it destroys. I think in general, I'm not just speaking about AI, but I think destruction comes mentally because of your own rigidity.
I like that actually a lot. That
Yeah.
I think you're absolutely right. It's like if you can't learn to be flexible,
Yeah.
and this is something I've always like thought about, like with car accidents, like, and I kind of go back to that just because it's something that I went through. I have 5 screws and a block of cadaver bone in my spine, actually, and I work very hard to walk around and just live a life like a normal, functional body. And so when you're, working on all this stuff and like you're dealing with these like tools like AI, it's like, yes, you want to embrace the technology, but also, like you said, like keep the parameters where you know that you're using things in the right way. because it's like you don't want to be so frigid that you like shatter. Like when if you're like they use this example of like people that are drunk in the car accidents often survive or don't
Right,
break bones because
right.
their bodies are fluid.
Yeah,
And so
yep.
that was something I remembered from in yoga too. It's something that you talk about after every posture in the 26 and 2 series. You completely relax your body so that the blood can flow and heal. And so that's where you want to be able to let that relaxation and that flow happen because if you're too rigid, like things shatter, it's like you want
They
to.
do. They do. I love that. We're already out of time. We can end on if you're too rigid, things shatter. It's so true. I'm going to bring Sadie back for a second, but I want to say, Katie, brilliant, brilliant interview. So lovely. Any last words you want to leave with the audience?
It's been such a pleasure. I love you all. I really encourage you all to come visit us, come see us, come get on stage. Lori, you're amazing. I can't wait to have you in the space.
Oh, believe me,
And
if I was
Sadie, thank
local,
you.
I would. I'd be grabbing that mic and say, "Let me at it." I think I want to be a comedian
You're
tonight.
gonna get over
I'd
here.
be totally into that. Totally into that. Sadie, was that not too much? Now, Sadie, you're in that area. You need to get out and get on that mic, Sadie.
Well, you know what? I think I actually have been to her space, like for multiple like reasons. Like, because you know how it is, how we do in LA, you got to have multiple things going on. So at some point, I have a SAG card. I think I went to her space for an audition. I think I went there for
Ah,
a production. I think I went there for like a Valentine's performance. Like,
oh,
as soon
yes.
as I heard heliotrope, I'm like, oh, my girl, I know exactly where you're at.
Oh, that is awesome.
I
And
love
Katie, as
it.
we're closing up here, take a look at the chat. You are a big, big hit. I just wanted
Oh
to
my
give you 1
gosh.
second to look at everything you're
Oh,
seeing in the
you
chat.
guys are so sweet.
Yeah, it's a definite big hit. Okay, I am totally out of time. I have to close this. So I want to say once again to all my frequent flyers, thank you for being here every single week. I see you out there. Katie, we're going to have you back on the show. Thank you for being
I
the
would
guest.
love to.
But I have to stop now. So I have to say, I will see everybody next week for Small Biz Talk with your host, Lori Williams. Bye, everybody.
Love you guys. Thank you, Lori. Thank you, Sadie.
Bye. Alrighty, guys. You know how the jams work. I'm gonna hang out here a little bit because I want to make sure that you get Katie's info. We got the survey going for you. I'm gonna put in contact information so you can get in touch with, I would say, a business subject matter expert at the SBDC. Because as you can tell, we're here to help you folks. We are passionate. We are enthusiastic. I mean, Katie. I mean, oh my God, I had so much fun. Like you listen to your story. I was like, oh. I gotta come back. I'm in Carmel right now. I'm like, but as soon as I come back, I'm like, I want to go back and hang out with you. So I don't know if you want to answer some questions or check out the chat, Katie, but
Yeah.
everyone's in love. Like I said, I mean,
Yeah. If you
like
guys have any questions, I'm here for you.
yeah, yeah, totally. Like, cause Lori like usually hops off, and I just kind of leave the space open because I want to make sure, like, because people are like, "How do we get in touch with Katie?" I'm like, so I'm gonna put that back in there again. I don't know if
Perfect.
you just want to take a second, but like I said, right now we're in chill vibe. We are in chill vibe, so I'm like, maybe you want to grab a little water, hydrate, because that was some talking right there.
We did good. It was so
You
much fun.
so much fun. So I got the survey going on right there. So like I said, like this is where I create the space. So I'm just gonna put myself on mute. There's the chat, there's this, and of course I'll keep an eye out and just say, hey, if anyone needs anything, let me know. But Katie, so much fun. I know Lori is gonna ask you to come back again. It was a fabulous time.
Well, I look forward to it. I can't wait. We're going to get both of you guys over here. I can already tell once we get you here, Lori's going to want to come over.
Exactly, exactly. Alrighty, guys. So I'm putting myself on mute. Just gonna leave these windows open. Katie, I can't wait to see you in person.
Same. I hope you have a great time in Carmel.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. Hanging out on mute as always.
Oh, thank you guys. If you can't figure out the volume, you can always just text it or type it too. Thank you. Well, and feel free if you want to reach out to you guys, our website, theactivistkitchen.com has all kinds of contact info or social media, The Activist Kitchen. I'm totally down to chat with you guys if you have any questions ever. Feel free. Come hang, We're going to actually start doing a lot more virtual stuff as well. So if you're not local to the area, then come watch some videos with us.
That third space
Awesome.
is real, Katie. I think that's what we're really getting into because, like I said, we're in Carmel right now, but it's like it's all about the third space.
Mhm.
And like I'm actually talking to my friend Zoe about our session that we had, and I was just like, "Ew, this was so inspiring." I'm like, "Oh, happiness isn't perfect." I'm like, "Oh, we have to be happy scrubbing the toilet." No,
And we
literally,
have to keep reminding ourselves that and remembering it. It's a practice. It's not something that every day I'm like, oh, yay, I'm going to scrub the toilet today.
exactly. No, but like, if we create the space, if we give the energy out to people, I'm like, you know what? Magic happens.
It's so true. Honestly, I'm so inspired by the artists that come in here and I see what they're doing and I see their development and it inspires me to keep going.
Hmm.
It's really I'm really so very lucky to have ended up in my life doing what I'm doing.
But it was all the little bricks, right? All the little bricks of
Mhm.
everything else. And I think that's why, like, because people always ask me, like, how did you end up here? Or how does this happen? And I'm like, it's not luck. It's not luck. It's, you know what? It really is. It's an opportunity came up, but you're prepared for when that opportunity comes up, or you created like I mean, maybe some people won't get with like the good juju, but it's like, you know what? It's like when you enjoy working with someone, or you know that someone is dependable, they're detailed oriented. It's like that sounds great on a resume. I'm like, oh, but especially in a creative world, whatever. It's like I need to count on you, so I don't have to worry about. Is the internet down? Like, you'll figure it out. You're not even going to call me, text me. You're going to figure it out, and I'll never even knew there was a problem because that's what a great person you are. You can take care of it.
Just get it done,
And
you know
just
what I
get it
mean?
done. That's how an entrepreneur does.
And it's
Well,
okay if it's not perfect.
it's
Like you said,
okay.
it's like, my gosh, showing up is half of the battle, you know?
Well, especially with parking.
Exactly. Just
That's always
get the
my
doors
thing.
open, get your stuff out there, and make sure that you're having fun?
No, definitely. Oh my God, Katie's too much fun. Well, as you saw, the chat was active. I put info in there. This is where I
Okay.
officially sign off, but I'm coming to visit you. Like I said, I've already been there, but now I
Please.
can officially say, Katie, it's me, Sadie.
Yeah, oh, I'm so excited to see you.
Definitely.
It's funny because I thought your name sounded really familiar when I saw it. I was like, wait a second.
No, it's been on some attendee list, some register.
That's what I thought.
I've been there. As soon as you said it, I'm like, I know exactly where she is. I'm like, oh, I had a first date over there. I was for a Valentine's, like, because it was
Oh
an
my gosh,
immersive.
yes, actually,
It
I do remember
it
that.
was an immersive experience, and I was like, I know exactly where. Anyways, I'm gonna calm down. Like enthusiasm, as you can tell, I
Okay.
had a good night's sleep. I had a good night's sleep. Well, on that note, hugs and kisses for everyone. Have a
Thank
wonderful
you
Wednesday, and we will
guys.
see you folks next Wednesday. Thank you, Katie.
Thank you so much. Have a great
Bye.
day.
You
Bye.
too.